Hi, and welcome to episode 9, Toxic Competition and Reporting Culture in Healthcare. So there's something happening in healthcare that nobody wants to say out loud. Some investigations don't start with patient harm. They start with competition. They start with jealousy. They start with someone watching your growth and deciding that they don't like it. And instead of improving their own clinic, they file a complaint. Welcome to the reporting culture of modern healthcare, where your success can become someone else's motive. And today we're going to talk about toxic competition, how it shows up, how it escalates, and how to protect yourself without becoming paranoid. Because we're not going to operate in fear. We're going to operate in awareness. So let's talk about the culture shift that nobody wants to talk about. Because healthcare used to be collaborative. Now it's saturated. Weight loss clinics on every corner, med spas in every plaza, telehealth is everywhere. New grads opening businesses, providers building brands online. Visibility invites scrutiny. And in competitive markets, scrutiny sometimes turns strategic. There are providers who watch your social media daily, screenshot your posts, monitor your pricing, track your growth, and ask mutual patients questions. And sometimes they report, not because you harmed somebody, but because they don't like how fast you're growing. They weaponize complaints. So let's talk about how this happens. A competitor may encourage a dissatisfied patient to report things, file an anonymous complaint, question your scope publicly, call your collaborating physician, contact your pharmacy, and submit concerns to the board. And here's what makes it dangerous. Boards are required to investigate complaints. They don't filter for jealousy, they filter for jurisdiction. So even if the motive is toxic, the process becomes real. And here's how providers accidentally fuel it. Here's the hard truth. Sometimes we unintentionally trigger competitive hostility, oversharing revenue, posting inflammatory comparisons, publicly criticizing other clinics, calling yourself the only safe provider, mocking bad outcomes online. And when you position yourself by tearing others down, you create enemies. You can market confidently without attacking, and authority does not require aggression. Let's talk about the emotional spiral. So if you've ever been reported by another provider, you know the feeling. It's betrayal. It's disbelief. It's anger. You think, we're supposed to be colleagues. And suddenly, you're defending your license because someone felt threatened? This is where many providers lose composure. They retaliate publicly. They post cryptic messages. They start investigating back. Stop. Escalation benefits no one. Composure wins. So let's talk about power. You cannot control whether someone reports you. You can control whether the report survives review. And here's how. Have tight documentation, clear protocols, scope clarity, staff training logs, written delegation agreements, identity verification policies, clean social media marketing, no medical advice in DMs, quarterly chart audits, and professional relationships even with competitors. The cleaner your systems are, the weaker the complaint. So let's talk about the difference between accountability and weaponization, because no one is mature about this. But not all reporting is toxic. There are unsafe providers, there are reckless providers, and there are scope violations that deserve attention. Accountability protects the public. Weaponization protects ego. The difference is intent. You do not participate in weaponization. You participate in ethical medicine. And you let your system speak for you. So here's how to build quiet power. Because the most protected clinics operate quietly. They avoid public drama, don't respond emotionally, don't compare publicly, don't post competitors' mistakes, and don't threaten retaliation. They build internally, they audit internally, and they tighten internally. And when complaints come, they respond with documentation, not emotion. And if you've already been targeted, and if you're listening to this and thinking, this is happening to me, take a breath. Because here's your move. Stop engaging publicly. Screenshot everything. Preserve communications. Call your malpractice carrier. Audit your charts. tighten your policies, strengthen staff training, and say less online. You do not fight noise with noise. You fight noise with structure. So we need to think about the long game. And here's what toxic competitors don't understand. Sustainable clinics are built on compliance, not hype, not aggression, and not flashy marketing. Compliance, consistency, professionalism. You outlast by being solid, not loud. Because healthcare is competitive, and that's reality. But you do not need to become paranoid to survive it. You need systems, you need boundaries, you need professionalism, and you need emotional discipline. Your license is too valuable to be dragged into ego wars. Operate clean, operate calm, and operate prepared. And let your work speak louder than their insecurity.